Morning. Right, let's have a discussion about working in retail. Now, I've never worked in a shop before now, and currently I just volunteer down at MAS, which is a charity for the homeless and mental health that was funded just after World War II by a Frenchman. Not sure how comfortable I feel about that being British. In order to aid the homeless and refugees after World War II. As well as being one of 4 shops in the local area. It's also a community hub when it's open, which is one of the issues that makes me laugh. Because the back part of the shop is off limits to customers. It's where the community hub is held and it's for staff. And you've got the counter and there's a small gap that even if you put a clothing rail and a stool and stuff like that in, people will still barge through and you have to go, excuse me, this isn't part of the shop. If I had a quid for every time I've had to tell someone, excuse me, that's not part of the shop, in the last 3 days I'd have over 30 quid, I think, which would be nice. We have the best staff and sometimes we have the best customers as well. But sometimes we have the worst. Working in retail, really, you see the best and worst of humanity, I think. For one example, yesterday, I basically worked from about 10:30 till about 4:30. And the shining example I have is I'm not up near the till, and this gentleman is like, excuse me. I'm like, yes. Table at front of the shop. And I'm like, okay. Is it for sale? I'll come with you and look. Walk up to the front of the shop, table and 4 chairs, or was it 5, doesn't matter. Big sold sticker. I'm like, mate, look, it says sold. Oh, so not for sale? No, it's been sold, mate. Oh. So not for sale? Yes, it's not for sale because it's been sold. So then he looks over and sees another table and set of chairs. It goes, that one. And there's another big red sold sticker on it. So I'm like, mate, that's been sold. So not for sale? Yes, it's not for sale because it's been sold. And then there was another woman. She comes walking up to the counter with a pair of jeans, denim, genuine denim, that were priced up at £6. She said, oh, so expensive, so expensive, so expensive. And I look blankly at her and go, that's £6, please. Oh, it's expensive. That's £6, please. And she hands him over and goes, oh, I buy. Really? I felt like saying, oh, that'll be £12, please. And when she ran, I go, well, now they're expensive. And even that, £12 for a pair of jeans these days is nothing. We get people who come in there and haggle over £1.50 plates. They're like, no, it's £1.50. 120. No, 150. I understand quite a lot of the time it's a cultural thing, because we've got a couple of regular customers who've just come back from Egypt, and they reckon in shops and bazaars and markets in Egypt, nothing's priced, because they haggle, don't they? But over here, haggling is not really a thing, although on large expensive items, my managers at MAS are flexible. You know, we had a grandfather clock in from a house clearance, and this guy came in and was interested in it, and I think it was marked up at something like 60, and he said something like, I'll have it for 50, and the manager just looked at me and went, yep, we'll do that. So yeah, on larger, more expensive items, we can be flexible. But when you're haggling over a £1.50 china plate, what's wrong with you? Well, the guy a few days ago, he sees this sealed, never been taken out of its box, good manufacturer and label, I can't remember the brand, pen. And he's like, oh, £8.50. I'm like, yeah, that's the price, mate. He's like, one of our managers looks it up, and most things brand new retail for about 30 quid, 40 quid on Amazon. People just want something for nothing. And then there's the shoplifters. Oh, 7 minutes in, that's all right. Fucking scumbags. I mean, I've said this before on my videos and I'll say it again. If you're just going to go off camera, it is first thing in the morning. I'm only on my second coffee, because I drink coffee and I know things. That's what it says on my mug. Anyway. What I've noticed most of all is the fact that I have become part of a fairly close-knit group in a matter of a month. And it's a good thing. Myself and my colleagues, we all have a laugh together, we all work together, we all protect the shop. Shoplifters, that's where I was, wasn't it? A couple of weeks ago, my first shift, literally we had a young lady of a certain persuasion with a pushchair. The majority of those who have been banned from the shop, I have to say, are from a certain country in Eastern Europe. And they all dress a certain way. Literally, she came to the counter and I was behind the till, and I could see that her child had a cuddly toy with a yellow price tag on it, and I could see she had an item of clothing draped over her pram which also had a price tag on it. And she paid for one item of clothing, handed me the coat hanger that was from the item she had draped over her pushchair, and then went to leave. And I very quickly, because she had to manoeuvre a pushchair, went to the front door, and I was there, and I looked at her and I said, I think I'll be having those items back, girl. She said, okay. And the child looked heartbroken, but that was the thing. She was using her child to initiate stealing. That's fucking low. I mean, this is apparently a well-known thing amongst Ipswich's charity shop community, and indeed the police and the street rangers, in that people from a certain ethnic minority are well known for targeting charity shops. You know, half the time they're stealing items worth £4.50. They thieve for the pleasure of it, I think. A scum. This should be a circle of hell reserved for people who shoplift from charities. Yes, I know, for instance, I claim a few freebies when there's been a house clearance. I get discount otherwise. But certain items that we have come in and I go, oh, I like that. The managers will go, oh, you can have that. I think it's their way of compensating volunteers. Whereas there are rules for paid staff where they can't do that. Yeah, they have to actually go on the books. So yeah, there are perks. If I can get it to work, I've got a nice stunt drone. Hasn't got a camera on it, unfortunately. I'm having trouble getting it to work. I have to talk to someone who's a bit more technical than me. And then maybe, you know, I'll have a remote control drone. So if anybody else dumps furniture out back and I can see them, maybe I'll kamikaze it at them. That'll teach them. Or rig it up so I can drop cat shit on them. Slightly less lethal than a Russian-made grenade-dropping drone in the Ukraine. I have to make sure it was a nice fresh one, wouldn't I? Yeah. Neighbours are being noisy. So yeah. Or the Middle Eastern mother and daughter who bought a huge amount of plates. I wasn't at the till. I would have had a meltdown at this point. And one of my one of my colleagues was dealing with them. They were stacking all these plates up and bowls. And my colleague was having to wrap every single one of them, basically. And they paid for them. And then still at the counter, blocking other customers, or I don't think there was that many at that point, they started having this conversation and getting them out and inspecting them after they'd already bought them. And suddenly they noticed that 3 of the bowls, one of them had a huge crack and another had a chip. Or, sorry, we do not want these. And then the mother, because I presume they're a mother and daughter, was like, oh, and I don't want those either, after she'd already paid for them. So my colleague had to go through the whole complicated and awkward business of refunding and redoing the sale. As he said, she knew she didn't want them when she paid for them. And then there's the people who, I don't know, it's the people who want something for nothing. I mean, some guy came up to the counter with, I think, a 5 CD compilation box set of Pavarotti, each of their own. And now I know, but I had to ask at the time, but our CD box sets are about $3.50. We check them all, make sure there's no scratches, you know. But I said, $3.50, mate, and he went and just dumped it on the counter and walked off. And I looked at his back, and I went, and a customer that was behind him was like, you know, go buy it brand new, mate, for about 30 bloody quid. And we all know the woman who was like, oh, it's so expensive, it's so expensive. She was trying to haggle, wasn't she? And in a lot of cultures, haggling is a thing. But in Britain, we generally don't do it. And these people need to learn, no, we don't do it. There's the price, that's what you pay. There is some flexibility with larger items, but when you're haggling, trying to haggle over a £6 pair of jeans, no, fuck off. You don't like it, fuck off back to your own country, basically. I mean that in the politest of ways, of course. I'm not one of those people. Also, you tend to find that older British, pensioners are awkward customers, awkward as hell. They will stand there and talk about nothing at the counter when there's 3 or 4 people queuing up behind them to buy stuff. And you're like, come on, dear. So, in balance, British people can be just as annoying. You're like, come on, dear, can you please move? I know you're lonely. I know you just like talking, but there's 3 or 4 customers waiting to buy shit. So can you move? Oh, people. Well, we're not open today, so, I've got a day off. I would say it's been and it continues to be an eye-opening experience. I never imagined myself being able to work in retail. But it helps that I've got a good team around me. It really does. Hi, MAS team. I'm very grateful you've made me feel so welcome this last about month. I enjoy your company and I like working with you. And you've made me feel very at home. So I thank you for that. May whatever gods you believe in bless you. I mean, that's another thing. My knowledge of bits and pieces of foreign languages is a great help. I mean, every time I serve a customer of Indian, Pakistani, that kind of area descent, I will always say namaste. And they light up and they smile, all of them, and you go, namaste. It's an Indian greeting. It's basically, may Buddha bless you, or something like that. It's a traditional thing they say. Or if we get good because we have good Romanian customers, families that are honest. And I will always try and say mulțumesc to them when they buy something, and they're like, mulțumesc. It basically means thank you in Romanian. I used to know a few Romanian swear words. I've forgotten them. I'll have to look them up again. But yeah, I see the best and worst of human nature. Not to the extremes that law enforcement and military do, but playing with that piece of dowel behind the counter. I really must get back to wielding swords, axes and spears again. Just because I'm currently not with a reenactment group doesn't mean I shouldn't keep training. I'll get back to it. I miss the Raven Guard. Wherever you are, boss, I hope you're okay. Alright, see you later, people.